Hello friends, welcome back, and this is going to be very important lesson, so I request you to please do not skip this lesson. In this lesson we are going to discuss about what are the skill measured by the Azure in this particular certifications. So what is the syllabus, what are the concepts Microsoft is going to check in the exam, and then we'll quickly look at what are the prerequisites for DP-200, or what you need to know before you start preparing for this exam. What are the different exam details we have, different types of questions, and general tips for exam. So I have given this exam many times, and I'm going to share some of the tips I experienced that can help you while facing this exam. And then we have how to prepare for the exam, or how you can best use this course to prepare for your exam. And then I'll introduce you to self-assessment tool by Chris. And finally, to motivate you, I will introduce you to 8 badge challenge I have for this course. So let's quickly look at the skill measured for this exam. So as we know that we have 3 modules in this exam. The first one is implementing data storage solutions, 40 to 45% weightage. Quite a big one, almost half of the weightage from this module. And then we have developing and managing data processing, 25 to 30%, and monitoring and optimization, which is still 30 to 35%, which is quite good. So in the first section, we have 3 modules: non-relational data store, relational data store, and security. Now in non-relational data store, we have 3 services which Azure would like to check in this exam. The first one is Azure Data Storage. And within data storage, very specifically blob storage, we have other type of storage services like file storage, queue storage, or table storage. But from exam perspective, you need to know blob storage. And then we have Cosmos DB and Data Lake. Now out of these 3, Cosmos DB is going to dominate this module. You hardly may see maybe one question from Data Lake, or maybe a question from blob storage, but most of the questions you will see from Cosmos DB. So this is certainly a very important service from exam perspective. And then in the second module, we have SQL Server and Synapse Analytics service, and you are going to see questions on both of these services. And then finally, in the third module, we have data masking and encryption, encryption in rest and in motion, data in rest and data in motion. And both of these concepts are important, and you're going to see question on both of these concepts. Now in the second section, we have 2 modules: batch processing solution and streaming solutions. In batch processing solution, we have mainly 2 services: Data Factory and Databricks. Now Data Factory is, I would say, is one of the most important service for data engineers, but I don't know why the weightage of Data Factory is low in this particular exam. Similarly, Databricks is also a very important service. But anyway, in this section, we are going to cover 3 services: Factory, Databricks, and streaming. Now in the last section, interestingly, we do not have any new service, but we are going to see how we can monitor all of these services which we learned in the first and the second section, and how we can optimize these services. And once again, very interestingly, Microsoft has recently removed Azure SQL Server from these services. Now I don't know why. Maybe they are expecting some big changes in Azure SQL Server, and then again they will introduce it here. But anyway, as of now, we do not have Azure SQL Server. Otherwise, we have most of the services here. We will see how to monitor them. So basically, we have 3 modules here. In the first module, we are going to see how to monitor all these services which we learned in the first section. And in module 2, we will see how to monitor all these 3 services which we learned in the second section. And then finally, we will see how to optimize these services here. Alright, so let's move forward here. Now there is no prerequisite for DP-200 exam, but I would say if you have absolutely no experience on Azure, if this is the first time you're looking at Azure, you can look at my website learncloud.info, where I have a free course for beginners in Azure. Alternatively, you can also look at the AZ-900 certification exam content. You don't have to clear the certification. You can just look at the content and get yourself familiar with Azure services. And now many instructors have created free AZ-900 course on YouTube. Now in this course, I have also basically tried to explain everything from very basics. So you can continue this course, and if you're stuck somewhere, probably then you can look for more of this content about Azure basics. And then similarly, if you do not have any prior database experience, if you're absolutely new, For example, if you don't know what are tables, what are columns, what exactly is database, you are new in this field, then I would suggest you to refer DP-900 syllabus. And I'm actually working on DP-900 course as of now and should be able to release very soon in a month or so. But anyway, you need to know at least some basic database concepts before you continue this course. And sometimes students ask me that, do I need to know some language, like do I need to know the Python or the Java or SQL or any other language, or do I need to know the PowerShell or command line, interface or something? But the answer for that is you do not need to know any of these. In this exam, Azure is not going to check your SQL or any other language skill. Here, the Azure wants to know whether you understand the Azure technology or not. So you may see a few questions based on PowerShell and CLI, but the focus is not to check your coding skills. The focus will be to check your Azure skills. So the code itself will be so simple, by just looking at the code, you can understand what's going on. But basically the question will be based on to check your Azure knowledge, particular concept in Azure. And then sometimes student asks that, can I take DP-200 before DP-200? Yes, you can take that. Technically, you can take that. But I don't know any reason why someone would do that. So ideally, you should take DP-200 first and then DP-201. And then we want to look at the exam details. So this exam is going to be of 180 minutes, and you will also get 30 minutes extra to read the instructions before you start the exam. So you have total 210 minutes. But I would say most of the students are able to complete this exam in 1 hour or so. So basically you are going to have a lot of time. Time is not a problem in this exam. Time is not a challenge, and you will receive questions in between 40 to 60. I have given this exam many times, and I remember the least number of questions I received, I think, is 43, and the maximum I have received, I think, is 55. So it will be somewhere around in between 40 and 60. It's not fixed, but irrespective how many questions you are going to receive, you should be able to complete that very comfortably within this time. All right, so let's now look at the types of questions you are going to see in the exam. And I have created a Word document where I have taken the sample of each of these different type of questions. So let me show you that here. All right, so in this Word document, I have taken example of each type of question. So on the left hand side, you can see that the first one is multiple choice question. Very simple. There are many choices and one of those choices is correct. Second is multiple select question. So there are many choices and more than one choice, more than one answer is correct. And then you have multiple select in sequence. That means not just multiple options are correct, but those options you also have to put in sequence. So you will receive these options in some kind of drag and drop boxes. You have to take those boxes, drag into a separate part of the screen and put that into a proper sequence. And then you have a drop down. And here you can see an example, global document DB, MongoDB, and parse. So which option you would like to choose here. And I've just given this here just so that you know what I mean. But here you will be having 3 drop box and you have to choose the right choice for each one of these. And then you have a simple true and false question. You will be given a scenario, and based on this scenario there will be a couple of statements and you have to choose which statement is right and which statement is wrong. And then you may also have drag and drop kind of questions where you'll have some question and you have to drag the right option for that. For example, in this case there are different types of table, fact table, dimension table, and you have to choose the right type of table you will choose for this particular table. So basically you'll just drag right option in front of the given choice. And then you'll have 2 types of case study. The first type of case study will be where they will give you some kind of scenario, and based on that they will give you some solution or maybe some service that may be the best choice for that particular scenario, and they will ask you whether it's the right or wrong. Or they may give you options for different services and may ask you which service do you think will be best for this particular scenario. Now the point here is, in this particular type of case study, once you choose the right answer and once you move forward, you cannot come back. So basically the trick is that they may try to confuse you. So in this particular scenario, they'll give you some option, and when you go to the next question, and after reading that question and you realize that, oh, actually this is the right answer, so let me go back and correct. But that is not possible. Once you choose the answer for that particular question, you don't have option to go back and change your answer for the previous question. So this is one type of case study where you can't go back. And then there are another type of case study where the case study actually will be very lengthy, and there will be a lot of information like business requirement information, technical requirement, maybe the security options, the infrastructure option. So it's going to be very lengthy case study, and after that you're going to see few questions based on this case study. Now what I prefer to do in this type of case study, I quickly read case study once without trying very hard to remember each and every detail, which I know I'm not going to remember, and then you read question and go into that particular part of the case study and read that few lines once again, and then make your right choice of the answer. So if you look at this example here, you need to select an Azure resource to store market research raw data. Which resource should you choose? Select Azure resource to store market research. So if you go here, you can see here that market research data must be copied over to Azure and retained in its original format, storing files in a year and month hierarchical structure. So as soon as you see the hierarchical structure, you know that Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 is the right answer. And I'm going to explain all this during the course. But my point here is that you don't have to read everything and try to remember everything. Just read the case study once, have a glimpse of what exactly is going on, read the question, and then go to that particular part of case study, read that section once again carefully, and then choose your answer. So these are different types of questions you are going to see in your exam. All right, so let's move forward here. And our next part is general exam tips. So there are a few tips which I would like to share with you. And the first one is you will have option to mark for review while answering your questions in exam. Every answer where you are not 100% sure, you can mark that as a review. Because while going through the exam, you may see different questions and different answers, and you may remember some concepts which you may not be able to remember while you answering that particular question. So if you are confused about any answer, just mark it for review, complete your exam, and go back and select those questions which you marked for review and look at those answers once again. Now this is another very common strategy to eliminate wrong answers. So if you have let's say 5 or 6 choices and you are not sure which is the right answer, so try to eliminate the wrong answers first. And out of 5, if you are able to eliminate let's say 2 or 3 answers, then there is an choice between 2 or 3 options, and there's still a 50% chance of getting it right even if you make a best guess on that particular question. Now this is another good strategy to look for the keywords in the exam. So as we were just discussing while we were discussing about the types of question, when you look at the hierarchical namespace, immediately you know that Azure Data Lake is the right answer. As soon as you see the graph, you know that the Gremlin API is the right answer. So you look for those keywords, and when you know that if this is the keyword, most likely this is the answer. And throughout the course, I'm going to tell you all these keywords. As soon as you find this keyword, look for this particular answer, and most likely this is the right answer. Now another thing we need to understand here is the marking system. We need 700 points out of 1000 points. But that does not mean you have to clear or you have to give the correct answer for 70% of questions, because each question carry different weightage, different points. So there may be a question which may carry let's say 50 points, and there may be other questions which may be carrying let's say 10 or 15 points. So it depends on what kind of question you get it right, you may get different points. So it's not necessarily 70% of answers you have to make correct. And the second thing you want to remember here is that partial correct answer also have a point. So earlier we discussed different types of questions. So for example, you have to choose the multiple right answers, and there are 3 right answers in that particular question. If you're able to choose the 2 right answer and third one is wrong, you still are going to get the some points based on those 2 right answer. It's not 0 or 1. It's not like if you did not get all 3 right, you'll get the 0 point. No, you will get some points based on what percentage of answer you made it correct. And another important point is there is no negative marking. So obviously there is no point to leaving any question. You have to answer each and every question in the exam. And there's an also option to comment on particular question. If you feel that question is confusing, it's not correct, or the given choices in the question are not enough or not correct, then you can comment on that particular question and Microsoft will review it later. So the first thing, I want to make sure that you feel confident while taking this course. I have personally given this exam many times, and then very carefully I have designed this course. And many hundreds of students have given exam. You can read the comments, and just by referring this one single course, they are very comfortably and with very good marks are able to clear the exam. So you should feel very confident. You just need to follow the study plan which I am going to tell you here. Now the first thing, I want to make sure that you go through all the videos very carefully. You understand about that service. What are the fundamental basics of that service? Why that service exists? How to create that service? What are the features of that particular service? And at the end of each module, I have given a further studies lesson where I have given the references from Microsoft website where you can go and study further. But for the exam, you don't have to do that. Whatever is required, I have already covered in my videos and quizzes and case study. But it's up to you if you want to learn more about that particular service, or if you are confused about that particular feature or that particular part of that service, then you can refer those study material. But you don't have to do it. It's not mandatory for you to go through all of those study material. And then at the end of each module, I have given my notes. You can please refer those. They are very important. And another thing I want to make sure you to understand is that quizzes and case studies are probably one of the most important thing in this exam. Now, videos are to understand the basic concept, the features of that particular service and some other very important concept, but it's almost impossible to cover everything in the video. If I try to cover everything in the video, this course will be maybe of more than 100 hours of course. That is not possible. So through case study and quizzes, I'm trying to convey further concepts on top of the videos. Sometimes a student says that, okay, I listen all the videos, but that particular question in case study, I'm not able to find that portion in the video. Yes, because through these case studies and quizzes, I am conveying further concepts you need to learn to clear the exam on top of the videos. Videos are for basic understanding about the service, for the features and everything. But quizzes and case studies are more specific for the exam, that what kind of questions you are going to see in the exam. And these quizzes and case studies covers all the learning points from exam perspective. And at the end of the course, you have a practice question bank where you have more than 500 questions. I would suggest you to practice as many questions as you can, and maybe multiple times all these questions, so that you really feel very comfortable when actually you are going to face the real exam. Alright, so let's move forward here. Now there's another point I want to convey here. Now if you take the similar course through instructor-led training, you may be paying a couple of $1,000, and very similar course here you have received in hardly few dollars. And of course you have your comfort, you can manage your time and pace, and you have the full access. You can look at particular video multiple times. But there's also a negative part about these online courses, and that is you have to be disciplined by yourself. When you pay thousands of dollars, when you are going into the instructor-led class, you are going to be very disciplined because you have paid so much and you have a particular schedule which you have to follow in spite of how much busy you are at home or in office. But in this online course, no one is going to ask you about your pace. You are accountable of your progress. You have to be disciplined. So keep yourself disciplined and motivated probably is the most important thing in an online exam. And I'm trying my level best to make sure that you remain enthusiastic and motivated throughout the course. So in this course, there are 3 sections and there are total 8 modules, and each batch here represent 1 module. So after every module, you will receive 1 batch, and at the end of this course, you should be able to receive all these 8 different batch. And once again, I'll try my level best to keep you motivated, but it's up to you that how eager you are to clear this exam and how soon you want to clear this exam. Now, one last thing I want to show you here is this self-assessment tool. This is created by Chris and Dan, and these are their websites. So basically in this tool, you have 3 different sections and different modules, and at the front of each lesson or each skill measure point, there is an option to choose whether how well you know that particular area. You know well, or you know a little, or you have no idea. And if you choose know well here, the percentage of that particular module and the section change accordingly. So you know that how much content you have completed. And you can go here in the assessment overview, and you can see that overall you have completed the 3.7% of the course. So I will be taking example of this self-assessment tool throughout the course to keep track of our progress. You can also download it. I'm going to attach this as a resource also, or you can go to their website and you can download it directly. This is free, and this is basically maybe another motivation factor for us to complete this course and see 100% here.